Holy cow, beach house is on sale in Charleston. You've got to be kidding me, right? Actually, no, this is not just clickbait. This is a real thing happening in Folly Beach, South Carolina, where beach houses have dropped in value almost 20% in the last 9 months. Why is that? That's exactly what I'm going to talk about in today's video, and I'm going to share with you if it makes sense for you to buy a property in the Folly Beach area to take advantage of these discounted homes. So stick around, let's get right into it. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a realtor here in the Charleston, South Carolina area, and I love helping people buy and sell real estate every single day. So if my team and I can be of service to you as well, we would absolutely love to talk with you and see how we can help your real estate goals. All the information you need is pinned in the comments and description below, so feel free to give us a call, a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom consultation to learn how we can be of best service to you. We look forward to chatting with you and earning your business. So Folly Beach is one of our beaches here in the Charleston area. If you want to learn more about all the beaches, check out this video about the best beaches here in Charleston. I go into a lot of detail about Folly Beach there, as well as neighboring beaches and islands like Isle of Palms and Sullivan's Island. But for the Cliff Notes version, Folly Beach is south of James Island. It's about 25 minutes from downtown Charleston and has been a beloved vacation hotspot for many, many decades. It's this really cool, hip beach, very laid back, lots of surfer vibes, cool restaurants, little beachy shops. There's a great pier that they just redid and opened up last year at this time, where you can go take a walk out onto the pier or go fishing off the pier. There's Morris Island Lighthouse, which is an icon in our area, as well as the county park, all on Folly Beach. So Folly Beach has a ton to offer. But something changed at Folly earlier this year, back in February 2023. The local voters decided to pass a short-term rental ordinance cap. In our real estate lingo, we call it STR for short-term rental, STR, which in essence just means it's a vacation rental, or people who are booking it are there for a few days or a couple of weeks. It's not your month-long or 6-month or year-month leases. It's your shorter-term rentals that are on sites like Airbnb, VRBO, and equivalent sites where you can book a vacation with your friends and family. That's what an STR is. Well, there was this months-long debate, really years-long debate in Folly, as well as many places across the country that you've possibly been hearing about, on the impact of short-term rentals. And some places have started to make caps on the number of rentals that they allow. So in February, there was a vote that was won by a very slim margin of only 78 votes that separated the difference of determining this new law in place of capping the short-term rentals at 800 total homes. Now, there's currently about 1,200 STRs in the Folly Beach area. So that's reducing the number by about a third, which is obviously huge. It's going to take probably a few years to get from 1,200 to 800. And how that's happening is either people who don't renew their license, or when someone decides to sell their property, they cannot convey the license with the home, meaning that the new buyer cannot get an STR license. They cannot operate that property as a rental property. So over time, they're going to be reducing the number of total homes via this method. So why would they decide to cap the number of STRs? Well, a lot of locals feel like the number of rentals have gone up over the years, and that it's become disruptive to those people that do live on Folly year-round. And some people who live there full-time have been deciding to leave and go elsewhere because they were just kind of sick of a lot of the parties and noise and some of the downsides that come with living in an area that has a lot of high turnover and rental properties. Folly is known to be a very tight-knit community, so a lot of people felt like this was disruptive to the locals. While I completely understand that perspective, personally, I'm not a fan of a ton of government regulations on these types of things. I think if it's your property and you're responsibly managing it, that you should be able to do what you want with your property. If it's a source of income for your family, I think that's pretty amazing. Real estate is the number one way that the average people build wealth in America, and sometimes it's through rental properties just like these ones on Folly, where they're bringing in consistent income throughout the year. So let's just say you've had a beach house on Folly Beach in your family for the last 50 years, and you inherit the property. Unfortunately, someone in your family passes away and now the property falls to you. Well, you as the person who has inherited this property and enjoyed this property throughout your life, you now very likely can no longer afford to keep the property anymore. If you can't get the short-term rental license, then you're not going to be able to rent it out, meaning that you have to have the available funds to pay for this property. Now, probably the mortgage is paid off. Maybe not. Maybe they've refinanced or taken out loans or other things on the property. So let's just say, for the sake of this argument, that's not even a consideration, but you still have property taxes and upkeep and maintenance. And depending on your own personal situation, you just might not have the funds to be able to pay even just for those basic items. And you might be forced to sell this property that has been in your family, that your parents or grandparents or whoever it was wanted you to have, and now you're going to be forced to sell it. Well, it's going to be a lot harder to sell now because the only people that can afford to buy a home when they can't rent it out are typically wealthier people who are either buying a second home and don't plan to rent it out, maybe a third home, who knows, or they are coming down here as their primary residence, so they are selling wherever they're living now, getting rid of that home, coming down here to live full-time on Folly Beach, and then maybe they can afford the home as their primary residence. But outside of people moving here for their primary residence or buying a second home that they're just keeping for themselves and their family, no one can get a new short-term rental license any longer. And so therefore, the vast majority of the potential buyer pool has been totally wiped out. Now, one quick point of clarification is that you are still allowed to rent your home long-term. So if you wanted to get a renter in for a 12-month lease, for example, you are still allowed to do that. The cap does not impact your ability to long-term rent your home. So you could still have some money coming in through a rental in that way. However, the income potential is only a fraction of what it is when you're able to short-term rent your house. So for a lot of people, it still just doesn't cover the expenses or cash flow. So the monthly rent just might not cut it. However, it is something that you could potentially look into. So the majority of homes for sale on Folly Beach right now are just sitting there. The total months of inventory is now at 5.9 months. What that means is that if no new homes came to market, it would take 5.9 months for the current inventory to sell out. Overall in Charleston, we're at 2 months of inventory. So this is a lot higher than the average for our area. Now, of course, markets that have higher priced homes have higher months of inventory because less people can afford to buy there. So a lot of the more luxury markets like Sullivan's Island and Isle of Palms all have higher months of inventory than the average 2 month, but still, this number is definitely inflated right now at Folly Beach because of this short-term rental ban. In real estate, a lot of times we look at things year over year to look at certain trends and metrics. So for January through October of 2022, the median price home on Folly Beach was $989,812. If we compare that to 2023, January through October, the median priced home is $800,000. That's a 19.2% drop year over year in the median price home in Folly Beach. That's a staggering number, especially that it's only been 9 months since this went into effect. And there are no other luxury or beach or island areas in Charleston right now that are losing appreciation in value. Everything is on the upward trajectory. So clearly this is having a huge impact. The number of total transactions happening on Folly Beach has also been cut in half. It's been about 50% year over year. There's only been 71 sales compared to 144 sales year over year. Overall, our Charleston market is only down about 16.6% in total transactions year over year. So again, to be down 50% is just a really huge slowdown in Folly Beach specifically. Folly Beach is now the cheapest place to buy a home if you look at all of the neighboring beach communities. So to go over those numbers really quickly, we have Isle of Palms, where the median is $2,225,000 for a home. Wild Dunes is a resort on Isle of Palms, and that's calculated separately. The median price there is $1,300,000. Next, we have Sullivan's Island, which is the most expensive zip code in all of South Carolina, coming in at $4,025,000 for the median priced home. Next, we have Kiowa Island at $1,425,000. Then Edisto Island, where it's $857,000 for your median priced home this year. And finally, Seabrook Island at $839,000. So out of all 7 beach communities here in Charleston, Folly Beach is now the lowest priced median home. So is it a good time to buy a beach house in Folly Beach? Well, possibly. We don't know what's going to keep happening with values. Are they going to keep going down? Well, that seems to be very possible in the shorter term. Eventually, things are going to stabilize. And who knows, maybe there'll be enough backlash from homeowners and from local businesses who believe they're losing revenue and tax dollars for Folly Beach in general that there could be a reversal and maybe the cap gets lifted. We don't know what's going to happen. However, if you're looking to make a move to the beach, you very well might want to consider Folly Beach now that it's getting more affordable. I would only recommend that if you are going to be holding on to this for the long term. If you think you're going to need to sell it in a couple of years, it's not going to be a wise investment since, again, we don't know if values are going to keep dipping, and just in general in real estate, you never want to think of it on the short term level. It's not a get rich quick kind of scheme with real estate. We all know that the longer you hold on to real estate, the more equity you build. So I do think eventually prices are going to work themselves out. And if you plan on owning this home for 10 years or longer, I genuinely believe that you should be okay as far as your equity in the future. If they don't reverse the ban and they keep it, eventually some people from this 1,200 number of total licenses will start to diminish, and eventually they will get to that 800 magical number that they're looking for as far as total permits that are allowed for short-term rentals. And at that point, there would be a waiting list where when someone doesn't renew, then you're able to get a license and things will feel more balanced. At the end of the day, the beach is still a very desirable place to live. A lot of people are always going to be looking for beach properties. So I do think it's a pretty safe investment again in the long term. Of course, you can't rent it out. So if that's your plan, that's not going to work. But if you're simply wanting to relocate and be on the beach or have a second home for you to come and go as you please, then this could be a really great time to get into the market. So what are your thoughts on the short-term rental cap at Folly Beach? Do you think it is a wise move on their part, or do you disagree with it? I would love to hear your comments below. And as always, if I can help you with your real estate transactions, my team and I would love to help. So go ahead and contact us. All of the information you need to get in touch is pinned below. And definitely check out some other videos like this one I just recorded about whether or not now is a great time to buy in general. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to the channel so that you can be the first one to know about all things Charleston. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.